Just recently we got a teaser for The Incredibles 2, which has got people talking about other upcoming Pixar movies, namely Toy Story 4. What we know so far is that the plot's supposed to be about Buzz and Woody going on a journey to find Bo Peep, and that it's kind of a love story between Woody and her. But stuff sounds pretty crazy over at Pixar. The movie was supposed to be written by Rashida Jones and Will McCormick, but they dropped out. It was supposed to be directed by John Lasseter, but he was replaced by Inside Out director John Cooley, and he's actually now taking a leave of absence after reports of inappropriate behavior. So everything kind of feels up in the air right now. Is it even gonna come out in 2019 like it's supposed to? Is it still gonna be a love story between Woody and Bo Peep? I don't know. With the current state of things, it sounds like it's pretty much open season on theories for the film and what's gonna happen in it. So here are Toy Story 4 theories crazy enough to be true. We'll talk about potential new storylines and fan theories that might come into play. And just before we jump into those, if you're new to the channel, hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell will let you stay up to date with our new videos. This first one gets all existential. So the Toy Story movies so far have dealt with toys that secretly come to life and their secret lives and emotions and relationships, all that jazz. But what hasn't really been covered so far is why and how they come to life in the first place. Obviously, thinking too deeply about the concept of toys being alive can bring you down some pretty dark paths. Like, do they ever die? Can they die if they're not destroyed? Let's assume they're not gonna get that dark with it though. We also have to assume that the toy companies aren't the ones making the toys come to life, because that means either they're intentionally playing God in a super messed up way, or they've created life without knowing it. That all sounds pretty messed up and they probably won't go down that path. But maybe the people at Pixar have a concept in mind to explain the magic that goes into these toys coming to life. Maybe it's rooted somehow in the imagination of a child, if they can find a way to do that without completely ripping off the Lego Movie. Okay, so Woody has been around for a while. In Toy Story 2, we see him learn that he's based on a 1950s TV show called Woody's Roundup. And that means that he's been around since that time, since he was probably made back when that show was popular. They probably didn't make Woody's Roundup toys like 40 years after it was canceled. But he doesn't seem to know anything about his origins, or who he really is, or how he was made, or any of that stuff. All he seems to really know and care about is Andy. So that implies one of two things. Either he first came alive when he met Andy, or that he came alive back in the 1950s, but that his memory has deteriorated. If that's the case, that means that after time passes, he could forget about Andy altogether too. That would definitely be a heartbreaking setup for the movie. Through some twist of fate, they can reconnect with Woody having no idea who Andy is. That's really sad, and like Pixar kind of sad too. So Sid was pretty clearly a bad guy in the first Toy Story movie. He got his comeuppance when Woody and the toys freaked him out by being alive. Then we saw Sid again briefly in Toy Story 3, now working as a garbage man. Lots of people took that as comeuppance too, like, ha, now he's a garbage man. What a loser. Well, couple of things there. First of all, garbage men aren't losers, and Sid actually seems pretty happy. Also, like many theories have pointed out, Sid might not actually have been a bad kid. It definitely seemed like he came from a messed up home, and the stuff he did to toys was just him lashing out. And he didn't know they were alive yet. He didn't think he was hurting anyone. So there's a theory floating around that Sid became a garbage man because he now knows that toys are alive, and that that's the only job he can think of to help save them. I mean, the toys spend a lot of time at the incinerator and junkyard, and they don't see any other toys there. That might be because Sid saved them before they could be destroyed. Now, a lot of people will point to the scene at the end of Toy Story 3 when Lotso Bear gets strapped to a garbage truck by a garbage man. Thing is, that's not Sid at all. The facial hair and voices are different, and even his co-worker's voice is different, so he's not a part of that scene, it seems. Plus, we know that Sid is handy with tools and stuff, so maybe he started putting toys back together instead of creating Frankenstein monsters. So if that theory about Sid does turn out to be true, he could be a key player in Toy Story 4, especially if they do stick with the storyline of trying to find Bo Peep. Who better to put Woody back in touch with her than the one human that knows that toys are alive? Pixar has said before that Toy Story 4 is an entirely new chapter for the characters, and this theory would definitely take things in an entirely different direction. So like I just mentioned, Sid is pretty much the only human that knows that toys are actually alive. And judging by his position as a garbage man, it seems like he's kept it to himself, or he's told people and they didn't believe him, or like I said, he's secretly helping toys. But what if everyone found out that toys are alive. Now that we're in an age of smartphones and everything being filmed and recorded, toys waiting for their owners to leave the room before coming alive might not be enough to keep a secret anymore. All it would take is one person on the planet to accidentally leave a recording device on when they leave the room to get evidence of toys coming to life. It could be as simple as one of the toys deciding he just doesn't want to keep the secret anymore, or one of them not going still fast enough and getting caught. Honestly, it's kind of nuts that this is actually still a secret in the Toy Story universe, judging by the crazy public stuff they've done. How would the world react to the sudden knowledge of toys coming to life? How would the main characters adapt to that kind of world? It's a completely crazy direction and it probably won't happen, but it could be interesting. And that does it for today's quick list. Let us know in the comments section what you'd like to see in Toy Story 4 and what you thought of these theories. If you're watching this on Facebook, you can hit that link to jump over to YouTube and subscribe. Thanks for watching.